Friendship and family helped Vin Diesel build his business, but he can't get away from the sadness that lies behind his fame. Paul Walker died in 2013, and Diesel will never be the same. He named his daughter Paul. He always leaves one chair empty on the set of a movie. He stops all shooting on November 30th every year. That's not the worst part, though. All of what he built could be destroyed by a case from 2023. His old helper says something happened in a hotel room in Atlanta in 2010. There is a fight back from Diesel's lawyers, but the damage may be done. The birth certificate for Mark Sinclair, born on July 18, 1967 in Alameda County, California, had no information about his father. There was just a blank spot. No matter how many years went by, his mother, Delora, a white psychic with Scottish roots, still wouldn't say who the father was. Diesel only knew that when his parents were together, it was against the law in some parts of the country before 1967. One thing that meant was that his father was probably black, but that quiet and mystery became a part of who he was. He once made fun of the idea that his race was like Schrodinger's cat. It wasn't either until someone opened the box. He never did, though. He has never taken a DNA test, not even recently. He says he doesn't want to know what happened. He did not grow up in the country. Paul, his twin brother, and he lived in a strange place called Westbeth that echoed. In Greenwich Village, an old industrial building was turned into cheap apartments for artists. Walls covered in paint, crazy costumes, broken lifts, and neighbors like Miles Davis and Diane Arbus made it hard to find your way around. They got in because of their black stepfather, Irving Vincent, who ran a theater company. Diesel was a kid, but his surroundings made him who he is. Diesel and his friends broke into a nearby theater when Diesel was 7 years old with pencils to paint on the walls. The theater director didn't call the police, though. Instead, he gave them papers and $20 bills. One thing, though, you have to come back every day for practice. Diesel said yes. His role was as a guardian from the Stone Age who had no front teeth and a voice so deep that it scared adults. The play was called Dinosaur Door, but being amazed as a child wasn't enough to pay the bill. He fought every night when he was 17. He worked as a guard at clubs in Manhattan like Tunnel and Mars from 1984 to 1993. He wasn't getting rid of frat boys. He was dealing with drug sellers, members of gangs, and people connected to the mafia. He said afterward that he fought a lot. Some of the people who worked with him said it was thousands. People who said they saw a big bald guard at a hospital near 11th Avenue called him Diesel. That name stuck around. Vin came from the last name of his stepfather, Vincent. Diesel came from his friends making fun of how energetic he was all the time. Man, you use diesel fuel. In this way, Mark Sinclair turned into Vin Diesel over time. He went to college and majored in English at Hunter in 1987. He read literature during the day. At night, he sold light bulbs over the phone and threw drunk people off the walls of clubs. But school wasn't fun. In 1990, he dropped out of school with only 3 points left to pass. He had read that Robert Rodriguez had spent $7,000 to make El Mariachi. Diesel thought he could do the same thing. People in academia begged him to stay. One even sent him a folder of refusal letters with the message, "Finish school." He didn't. But many years later, the same college gave him an honors doctorate. This shows that dropping out can lead you right where you need to go. At Tunnel nightclub, his personality became very important. For safety reasons, staff couldn't use real names. Vin D was Diesel's name. There was no social security number or other personal information on the list. Diesel is just a name. People thought it matched his build. It made the story more interesting, and Diesel bought into it. When he wanted to, that life in the clubs turned him into a ghost. It also made him want to be alone. He still keeps his homes under business names. He felt the need to hide in those dark rooms for a long time before the cams found him. He built his body more in streets than in gyms. He didn't have a fancy trainer. He did push-ups and kegs on floors that were sticky. During his shifts, he did reps on the bench press and went from 165 pounds to 205 pounds in 5 years. His muscles were built by staying alive, not by working out. He once broke a bone in his hand in a fight and used it to get stronger, to relax by squeezing stress balls while you heal. In the end, Universal was right when they said he looked like a party tank. He was made to make an effect long before action movies, but Hollywood didn't let him in. Awakenings was his first movie part. It was a brief cameo as an uncredited hospital orderly in a movie that was nominated for Best Picture. That was it. He didn't get a speaking job for 5 years. He was not able to get cast. He didn't look black enough or Latino enough to be white. He was a mystery to everyone. People in charge of casting told him to choose a side. He didn't. He wrote instead. One all-nighter in 1994, he wrote a story about an actor who isn't sure who he is. It was his name for it. He didn't have any cash, so he sold it for $3,000 in 3 days. He scored it himself since he didn't have any money for music. No one cared at first. The response at first was cold. He was about to stop editing. His dad, who had raised him, stepped in and told him to finish. That little push made a difference. The Anthology Film Archives was the first place to show the movie. After that, it went to Cannes. The room was full of people. The business world saw him for the first time. His mom had given him a small book for Christmas the year before. He had no money. She didn't have much money left. The title was made like a movie, for the price of a used car. Ate it all in one sitting. It was an easy lesson. Don't ask for permission anymore. Make something. Vin Diesel had $3,000 saved up and a dream that wouldn't go away. He spent all of it on a short film in 1994 that he wrote, directed, produced, scored, and acted in. The 21-minute work Multifacial is full of raw desire. He shot it over 3 days without sleep. It's about an actor who is having a hard time and never seems to fit in. He keeps switching voices and getting turned down. The people in charge of casting would say, "We don't know what box to put you in." Too well knew how they felt. He was broke and 27 years old, and he was sleeping in a stolen hostel bed. It wasn't in the competition area, but it was close enough. His name was on the non-competition slate, which is how the event stealthily finds new artists. Some people noticed. Talked about how much the movie cost. It was less expensive than one dress on the red carpet. And talked about this person who had done everything by himself. People didn't just applaud to be nice when they did. Someone from Paramount gave him a card and said 5 words in a whisper. "This sounds great to Spielberg." That dream came true back in Los Angeles. This is what Steven Spielberg watched for lunch. Multifacial. He didn't just look at it for 21 minutes. He picked up the phone. He told his DreamWorks team, "Find this kid for me today." After a few months, Diesel's pager went off. The number came from the 310 area code. Spielberg himself was speaking on the other end. He said that he had changed a scene in Saving Private Ryan just for Diesel. "It's a crime you're not directing more," he told him in a gentle voice. Diesel said in the future that getting that message was like winning the Oscars. The new name for that part was Private Adrian Caparzo. Diesel was in the movie for less than 12 minutes and had only 2 main parts, but that was enough. He played a tough, dirty Bronx soldier who shoots a little French girl for trying to help her. It was more than just motion. As the blood pours out, he holds on to a letter that was meant for his father. It hurt people. Critics took note. In the finished trailer, Spielberg even used one of Diesel's ideas for a unique camera angle. Deals started coming in after a small role became a big deal. In less than 2 years, Diesel had booked Pitch Black and was being told that each movie would cost $2 million. The movie Saving Private Ryan came out in the summer of 1998 and made almost $500 million around the world. It made more money than any other war movie at the time. It made a line in the sand for Diesel. Before that movie, all of his roles together hadn't even made $500,000 at the box office. After that, Just his next 3 movies made more than $500 million between them. 4 years ago, no one knew who he was. Now, Forbes lists him as one of the highest-paid stars. It all went back to that short picture he made with credit cards that were overdrawn. It was 2001 when Universal gave the go-ahead for The Fast and the Furious. They had no idea what they were getting into. The price was only $38 million, and they weren't hoping for a franchise. The movie's first weekend haul shocked everyone by making $40 million. It made 4 times what it cost in the US alone by the time it left screens. The movie made more than $200 million around the world. Diesel wasn't locked in for more than 1 movie when Universal found out about it too late. It was too late for the company to ignore the math now. 1 movie about street racing had just made an action star worth $100 million. So when it was time for the second movie, they gave Diesel $25 million to come back. "No," he said. He thought the story was empty and was just a way to make quick cash. He left. Back then, no one did that. A safe bet for a lot of money, promised box office. He did well and passed. Even though the successor had a better start, it made less money without Diesel. He got his point across. Diesel wasn't just shape, and Dominic Toretto wasn't just a name. He didn't just want to drive fast. He wanted to make myths. Then there was the strangest deal in Hollywood history. He had a small role in the 2006 movie Tokyo Drift. He did not ask for money, and it was over in less than a minute. He asked for something else instead. He owns his sci-fi figure Riddick in whole. He took full control of a whole series from a 30-second garage scene. That deal worked out well and brought in more than $2 billion over the course of several movies. A lot of artists do want points. Diesel asked what would happen next. That was before Fast and Furious 4, which came out in 2009. Diesel wasn't just the face of the series. He was also making it. Not only was his name in the credits as a star, but it was also as someone who helped shape the idea. He had a say in who was cast, what was written, and even the ads. That movie did so well at the box office that it made $72 million in its first weekend, and over $360 million around the world. Diesel didn't just play Toretto after that. He was putting together the Fast world. It worked. More than $2 billion has been made at the box office around the world from just the 8 main movies starring Diesel's character. This doesn't include any spin-offs. For each movie, that's about $300 million. As of now, Furious 7 has made more than $1 billion and stayed in the top 10 in the world for years. It also helped that social media was around. Diesel let his nearly 400 million fans know about hints and hype in real time, which made his movies feel like worldwide events before they even came out. Things almost fell apart in 2012. The last $4 million of the third Riddick movie's budget suddenly disappeared while it was being made in Canada. At the last second, a key link broke. Without it, the whole set was in danger. A lot of the team was getting ready to leave, but Vin Diesel did something that not many actors would ever think to do. He took a risk. He took out a loan on his own house to save the movie. A short-term loan was given to him against the house he bought for $4.7 million in 2005. He might lose his house and everything else if things didn't get better quickly. Diesel thought about that possibility every day for almost 2 weeks. There was not much time left. The house was in danger, and each missed payment brought the default closer. It wasn't luck that kept the dream alive. The amount of money from international pre-sales was just right, and Universal stepped up with extra money in February. But don't get it wrong. The only reason the cameras kept rolling was because Diesel wouldn't leave. Diesel never planned to put his own money into it, director David Towie later said. But he had no choice when the banks shut down. For millions of dollars, he put money into the movie in case of an emergency, just to keep the lights on and the cast and crew going. 7 years of work on the story were on the line. The rights would go back to everyone if they didn't finish on time, so all of their work would have been for nothing. Diesel took the lead again. The film's escrow account was empty when payday came, so he wired $1.1 million from his own account to cover food and salary. It's not a fancy news release, nothing exciting to say, no noise, just movement. He did it again when it happened again. Thrice, he saved the production by putting up $3.3 million of his own money so that no one would lose their jobs, and expensive scenes wouldn't have to be reshot from scratch. To fix those monster effects alone costs $80,000 every day. It wasn't just to save money. He was protecting people's jobs. But he already knew this. It took years for Fast and Furious to make Vin Diesel famous, but he was already building the foundations for something bigger. He started One Race Films in 1995 when he was 28 years old to protect his ideas and claim ownership of the figures he created. There was more to it than playing. It was about who owned what. Later, he added Tygon Studios to make game adaptations and Racetrack Records to handle song rights, making himself a creative ecosystem that could support itself. That's why he has Riddick. That's why he runs XXX. That's why his name is on so many credits, not just as a star, but as the head of everything. He also does things himself. Diesel was flying coach to Berlin in 2010, while other stars walked the red carpet. He went to the European film market with his laptop and pitched Riddick to 70 foreign buyers in person. He didn't send a team or hire someone else to do it. He just showed up, put up a small screen, and offered to record personalized promos for each area. He had already sold $24 million worth of tickets before the trip was over. It was that money that kept the show going when everything else failed. He even took the papers home with him in his backpack after signing them, like a kid carrying their homework, through airport security. He was really and personally involved in it that much. But there was something more than action and business moves going on. It was a friendship that changed him forever. Paul Walker and Vin Diesel were more than just co-stars. In every important way, they were brothers. Diesel shared an old picture of Walker on his upcoming 51st birthday and called Paul his partner. People from all over the world felt their connection, and they knew it. Nothing was fake about it. It was real. That was clear from the way Diesel talked about Walker. After Paul died in the crash in 2013, Diesel named his daughter Pauline because he felt Walker's presence in the delivery room. That name wasn't an honor. It was a promise. Meadow Walker became part of the family as well. Diesel became her godfather and was at her wedding. Like a father, he will walk her down the aisle. She still calls him on Father's Day. She goes to every opening with his family. It's more than just public performances, it's a shared history. She even signs emails for MW plus VF, Meadow Walker, and Vin's family. The day after Paul died, Diesel went to see his mother for a short time. He thought he would make her feel better. She looked him straight in the eyes and told him, "You lost your other half." He was hurt by that line. It also set the tone for everything that came after. Since then, every Fast and Furious movie has had a piece of Paul in it, like an empty seat, a quiet nod, or his name on the screen. And Diesel's voice whispered more than just words in "See you again." It said goodbye in a whisper. Then there's Groot. Just 3 words. That's it. Still, those words helped the movie make over $6 billion. Everyone was shocked by Guardians of the Galaxy. No one thought a talking tree would win people over, but Groot did. For hours and hundreds of takes, Diesel worked on his voice to make him come to life. Each take was tuned to a different mood. 50 versions of one line. He showed fear, love, and sarcasm, and he didn't just speak English. He got Groot to speak in more than 15 languages so that the tree would sound the same everywhere. He learned how to sound out 3 words in Mandarin, Russian, and Portuguese. He had no plans to stop at theaters either. With I Am Groot, Diesel brought Groot to Disney+. a group of short films that became one of Marvel's most watched projects ever. He even did the character of Groot in Ralph Breaks the Internet, which is something that almost no other Marvel actor outside of the MCU has done. Diesel's Groot became a worldwide icon through animation, cameos, and major movies. Vin Diesel saw her across the room when he was 40 years old. She was 24 years old, tall and beautiful. Her family was Mexican. After that, he called her his Mayan queen. That wasn't a PR line. It was a name he whispered to himself, and he only said it once, in a Facebook post in 2014. The only public picture of the two of them that ever made it to his feed. It's been 18 years since that night in 2007. There was no wedding, no controversy, and no bad news. They never did anything Hollywood, which may be why they're still around. Diesel has chosen a very different path than most famous people who show off every part of their lives. People who worked with Harrison Ford and never sold their lives for a tabloid have passed down this rule, which he calls the Harrison Ford Code of Silence. Once, in 2006, someone asked him about his relationships. He laughed and said that people would only find out about them if they went through his trash. People didn't even know he had a daughter until he lightly mentioned her name on a talk show. There were no magazine covers, no baby pictures that were sold, and no hints about the wedding in interviews. When he travels, he goes to quiet parts of Europe where no one with a camera follows him. People who work at the studio say that his silence saves them hundreds of thousands of dollars every year in security costs. But the quiet goes on longer. The news never talked about the 3 babies who were born in one of LA's biggest hospitals. All of them were sent with fake names. The people who work at the hospital signed NDAs. There have only been 6 official family photos in almost 20 years. His kids still found their way into the fast and furious world in a quiet way. An episode of a Netflix show with his daughter Hania used her voice. Vince, his son, played a young Dom in F9. Diesel says he didn't have kids until he was 40 years old so that he could be a present dad. These days, his movie deals have one strict rule: no shooting on the birthdays of his children. There are some shocking facts about Diesel's life, like the time he became friendly with the lead of the Dominican Republic. The first sign of trouble was on a hunt in 2007. A year later, he was in a campaign ad for Leonel Fernandez on national TV, where he spoke perfect Spanish and backed him. A lot of times the ad played. It changed the outcome of the vote in the capital. Diesel got more than just a thank you in return. He was made a citizen by respect and got a real Dominican ID card. Years later, that link led to a film foundation and even tax breaks that made it possible for Fast and Furious to film again in the Caribbean. There's something even stranger going on beneath the tough guy look. Diesel is totally caught up in Dungeons & Dragons. He has loved the game since 1982. He still has a worn-out guidebook with coffee spots and notes written in the margins. He had to write an introduction for a D&D anniversary book and turned it in on time. He even wrote it by hand. He shows his co-stars how to play while they're on set. He's not done yet. Judi Dench named her D&D character after him. Insiders revealed in 2024 that he is pitching a live-action trilogy based on the Dragonlance books. He wants to play the dark wizard Raistlin. Behind the scenes, that's always been him. A guy who spent all his time at the game table. Just as his personal life was staying out of the public eye, he was sued, which brought it all back. As of late 2023, a former assistant called Asta Jonason had filed a case of sexual battery. She says the attack happened in an Atlanta hotel room in 2010. Diesel pushed her onto a bed, pinned her, and put her hand where it didn't belong while Fast 5 was being filmed, she says. After only a few hours, she says she was fired. The story was buried for 13 years until new California rules made it possible to bring it to light again. The people who work for Diesel call it a clear shakedown. Says she thanked him in a text message and agreed to a $75,000 payment in 2011 for unpaid wages. Still, the most serious charges, sexual abuse and firing without cause, remain. 4 more counts were thrown out by the court, but the hearing will still go on. Diesel hasn't said anything in public, not even on Instagram. His lawyers are going to talk for him. No one has missed that quiet. After all the trouble with Fast X, Universal is keeping a close eye on things. Director Justin Lin quit the set just 5 days into shooting. After one tense meeting with Diesel, that was it. Lin left the room and didn't come back. The company rushed, stopped work, and spent millions of dollars before they could hire someone new. The budget blew up. Diesel was under more and more stress. The crew says it wasn't just a one-time thing. They've seen it before. It is known as Dom's Law by them. A lot of the time, it means that things change at the last minute and without notice. Then there's Paul Walker. Diesel never really let go. Walker shared an old picture of the two of them racing with the words, "Letter to a Lost Brother," on his 51st birthday. It broke people's hearts and got 5 million likes in one day. He has made sure that Walker's character stays alive in the Fast story. There were no deaths or funerals away from the screen, only memories frozen in time. In the new movie, there's even a deep fake memory that was okay with the family. Stops filming every year on November 30th, the day Paul died, even if it costs a lot and throws off the plan. He leaves Walker's empty chair out on set as if he were going to come back in. And that's Vin Diesel, a famous person, but a life spent in the dark. As secret as most Hollywood vaults, he keeps his family close, his enemies quiet, and his family close. However, even the best-kept secrets can get out sometimes.